Alright, welcome back to the Front Cover YouTube channel. It's your boy, Trey Young, aka Twilla Beast, and today we're starting a new series, ranking the next generation, a power rankings of the best young players in the NBA, and today is a playoff edition, so unfortunately, no Zion, no LaMelo, no Sabonis, etc. Just talking about the young stars that are balling out in the playoffs right now. But before we get any further, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment below the answer to this week's trivia. How many NBA games did Greg Oden play in? Alright, first up, you know who it is. It's Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's a two-time MVP, absolutely dominating so far in the playoffs. And we see now that if you surround him with shooters and decent playmakers like Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, we got shooters Compton, DiVincenzo, Bobby Portis, Brian Forbes, been amazing. Sorry, Bryn Forbes, I apologize. He can be like one of the best players in the league. So this Bucks team is a lot better than last season, and they have a legit chance at a finals run. Giannis is one of the most underrated players in the league, and hopefully this year he can have some playoff success. Next is Nikola Jokic. He is an insane and amazing offensively. Even his defense has gotten better. He's a decent rim protector, and it helps that he's 7 feet tall and like 290 pounds. So he's got a super weird jumper that you always expect to go in, and he's one of the best passers in the league. He's also one of the best big man passers of all time, if not the best big man passer of all time. If he plays for the next 10 years like he played this season, he could go down as a top 20 player all time maybe. Who knows? At least an all-time great for sure. Another guy that could go down as a top 10 all-time player, Luka Doncic. He's number 3 in this list. He'll definitely be first in like 3 years, either just because the guys ahead of him are aging or because he's just amazing or a combination. He will be an all-time great, mark my words. And he could legit average a 30-point triple-double. And I wouldn't be super shocked because that's just who he is. He's a guaranteed 6-game playoff series every single time. And we see that he's being the Clippers right now. Luka has a real shot of being a transcendent top 10 all-time player. And most guys like that make their run earlier than later, so keep that in mind. And after watching the first few Clippers games, his IQ is already like top 3 in the league right now. Next is Joel Embiid, one of the most dominant players in the NBA right now and potentially all time, for being honest. I mean, he's getting a Shaq treatment with all the free throws. However, he's also very injury prone, and that could definitely stop him from being a top 5 guy or becoming a top 5 guy in the NBA. Currently, that is, not all time, currently. He can post up, he can make pull-up mid-range shots, he can catch and shoot from beyond the arc, and is a great rim protector. So he's got all the equipment, just needs to make sure to keep it together and stay intact physically. Next is Jayson Tatum at number 5. He also has a chance of being transcendent, but I think he needs the fire to get there. He's got the talent, he's got the skill set. He's trying to imitate Kobe, which isn't a bad thing, for sure. But the biggest difference between Kobe and Tatum is that Kobe put in hours and hours of work and had that competitive spirit. Tatum doesn't have that fire yet. He's got tons of talent, but needs to put it to use better, more consistently. I'm not saying his work ethic is bad, but if he wants to be Kobe, he's got to set up that work ethic. Julius Randle, most improved player. For sure deserves it. Came out of nowhere. He's a terrible matchup for basically anyone. Still has a lot to prove in the playoffs. He's had 2 kind of stinkers so far, which isn't great, but he's carried this Knicks team to the 4th seed this season, putting up amazing stats. I mean, he's the only all-star on this team, and this team's like a top 8 team in the league right now. He seems to have hit kind of a wall in the playoffs. Reminds me of kind of what Giannis was last few seasons. Maybe just get him some shooters as well. Derrick Rose has been amazing for sure, but he definitely find himself falling down this list if he continues to struggle in the playoffs. And I'll be doing another list of this sort after the playoffs, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that one. Next is Devin Booker. He can literally get a bucket wherever he wants. He is hitting incredible shots in the sidestep threes, step back threes, close mid-range over Anthony Davis. It's insane. He's really taken the biggest burden so far against the Lakers since CP3 is dealing with a shoulder contusion or whatever it is. It's not good for the Suns for sure. And Booker is one of the best pure scorers in the league. plus is arguably the best player on the second best team this past season. Next, at 8 is Bam Adebayo. It's been pretty apparent that he needs to improve his scoring ability. That's for sure. Against the Bucks, he hasn't had a great series so far in that aspect. He's one of the best defensive players in the league for sure. Probably make All-NBA, all defensive first team. But yeah, his scoring needs to take a big leap for him to make a jump in this list. Last season, he felt like he was the main guy for a lot of the playoff series, or at least the second guy. While he's taken a step up the series statistically, or the season statistically, and just talent-wise, like he needs to be a bit more aggressive and just a little bit less passive, but at least in the playoffs so far. Number 9 is Trey Young. I was tempted to have him higher because of his playoff performances, but his defense is also like the worst in the league, so I couldn't really do it. He's been unstoppable so far against the Knicks, especially in the pick and roll. With Trey, it's either an easy floater if the big man comes too far down, or if the big man comes too far up, it's an alley-oop pass to Capella or Collins, or if there's help from the wings or the sides, a kick-out three. I mean, what we've seen in the playoffs, well, I've seen in the playoffs at least, so far, makes it hard for me to put him any lower. And the Hawks have been atrocious without him on the floor. Next is Donovan Mitchell. Has missed the last 5 weeks, and he could obviously see. I could definitely see him moving up in this list, especially if he makes West Conference Finals or something. He's definitely one of the guys I think can end up being top 7 in this list when I do it again. But it was super close between him and Simmons, to be honest. But Mitchell, he's been the best player on the best team this season, and he's a go-to guy, so that was a tiebreaker for me. Simmons' defense is amazing. I'll talk about it in a second. I have him this low because everyone above him is either better than Mitchell or has been amazing in playoffs so far. For instance, top 5 guys are obviously better, even maybe 6, maybe 7. And the other guys have had good playoffs series. So, but yeah, I can definitely see him moving up in this list. Honorable mentions. First, shout out to DeAndre Ayton. He's been amazing. He missed 5 shots this entire playoff series. Great rim protector, super underrated. Yeah, I probably should take a Luka at number 1 that season, but ending up with DeAndre Ayton isn't a bad thing at all. So, and he really locked up Davis in game 1. And he's top 15 in the league in win shares, so that's got to count for something. Ben Simmons, one of the best defenders in the league, arguably the best perimeter defender, plus a good rim protector, an amazing playmaker, one of the more overhated and underrated dudes in the NBA for sure. Ja, 40-point game, 45 for him. Honorable mention as well. He was really good to play on and the playoffs. I just feel like he has got a Jimmy Butler DNA. Maybe he's not the best in the regular season, but he'll get the job done, and once playoff comes, he'll turn it up, and he balls out in the playoffs and close games. That's what we've seen. Next is Jamal Murray. Last playoffs, people probably would have put him up here, maybe top 6 or something, but he didn't improve as much as we wanted to, and he's injured obviously right now. But he's a good chance to make a few All-Star game appearances. So watch out for Jamal Murray in the next few seasons. And lastly, Jaylen Brown. Started off the season on fire. Was pretty consistent for the Celtics. Just needs to improve his scoring and playmaking a bit. And team success would obviously help him to be considered a perennial All-Star. But he can definitely make a jump in these rankings considering that he gets better every single season. So, alright, that is the list for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this rundown. Hopefully I wasn't too quick. But make sure to comment below, like, subscribe. Check the link in the description for a podcast for Panic Meters Round 1 for the teams that are down in their series and are freaking out a little bit, like the Heat and the Clippers. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be back next week. Until then, peace.